Hi, this is Jürgen with the FIBO Data Model training course. Today's class is Semantics for mid-sized banks. But not only for banks, it's fully applicable for investment funds. And the size per licensing is more than 200 billion US dollars. However, what it really means is banks who do not have ontologists and RDF stores yet. So some background about the EDM Council and Object Management Group. So the EDM Council is a global association of over 200 financial institutions. And they focus on data management and data standards. And in particular, many banks have completed the data management capability assessment model. And for FIB-DM important, the EDM Council created the FIBO. And I think you all know the Object Management Group. It has over 220 member organizations, and they do standards like UML, BPML, DDS, and SysML. And they publish the Commons Ontology Library. And now, as of October 1st last year, the two have merged. The EDM Council acquired OMG, and with that, the combined standard setters are the world's largest non-profit trade organization for data management. The FIBO is the authoritative model of financial industry concepts, their definitions, and relations. And the EDM Council members, mainly the large banks and investment companies, developed the Financial Industry Business Ontology as a business conceptual model. And there are almost 2,500 classes, detail loans, financial instruments, business entities, and processes. And notably, the FIBO imports OMG Commons as an upper ontology. Now that means OMG Commons is industry independent, and it holds generic constructs, whereas the FIBO is finance specific. The Financial Industry Business Data Model, FIB-DM, has almost 3,200 entities and includes the complete FIBO semantics and documentation. And we created FIB-DM using our patented configurable ontology to data model transformation code. There's a chasm between semantic and conventional data management. So large financial institutions already implemented the FIBO. However, many mid-sized banks face high barriers in the tooling, specialized database systems, and the needed human expertise. The EDM Council specified the FIBO in ontology web language OWL. However, OWL needs highly specialized ontologists. OWL runs on specialized databases, so-called RDF triple stores. But IT departments must still support and design relational data. FIB-DM is the bridge across the chasm. We have the industry standard available in your data modeling tool, the FIBO and Power Designer, Irwin, and other tools. So semantic enterprise information architecture, where we can look at the IT landscape by its use, whether it's for business design, development, the type, is it conceptual, logical, physical, implementation level, and whether it's for enterprise department or projects. And what you have today already, you likely have data models and you have RDBMS. And also you have XSD for messaging, you may have process models, and you probably have object models in UML. Now what's new is the FIBO, and that the FIBO deploys on RDF databases. And with FIB-DM, we have the FIBO available as a conceptual data model. And also in the future, we can generate out of the FIBO class models and XSD. And we have the FIB-DM, the FIB Concept Maps, which are in sync, aligned with both the data model and the ontology. So domain ontology generates a perfect conceptual data model. So on the left-hand side, we have a snippet of the FIBO. And what we see here, we have a bank account, and we have a bank account identifier. We have the bank, which is a depository institution. And on the right-hand side, we see the data model, and it is the best representation of the left-hand side ontology graph. And there are no extra entities or missing entities and relationships in the design. Financial industry business can be described with 15 fundamental concepts. And in FIB-DM, the concept maps, they all have a name, an icon, and an abbreviation. And 90% of FIB-DM entities are a subtype of the concept entities. And in the ontology, these 15 classes, most of them defined in OMG Commons, are only subclass of the thing. And the other 2,500 classes are subclasses of a concept class. And that's enough to visualize design in user-friendly concept maps. And if you want to dive into that deeper, I recommend the class Semantics for finance users. Here in FIB-DM comes with documentation, and for each of the concepts there's a reference sheet. No, it has the FIBO definition, it has the number of entities under a concept, important subtypes, and it has the significant concept associations. No? So here's an example, the agent. We see how the agent entity in FIB-DM breaks down to party, persons, organizations, and we also see how that concept relates to other concepts. No? So an agent has an address, which is a reference. The concepts and vocabulary directly correspond to the ontology. So on the left-hand side, we see a concept map. It's about registration of depository institutions. And in the US, they all have an FDIC certificate number, which is registered by the FDIC, and it is in the registry. The depository institution, our bank, is a stock corporation. It has an address, it has capital, and it has an LEI. And this directly corresponds to the FIBO ontology, what we see here in the protege screenshot. And if you want to dive into this deeper, I recommend scoping our first data model from FIB-DM. The data model and ontology are the same. Data model and ontology graph model the same business concepts and relations. Now here's an example. We look at the ontology here. We have a loan, and we can navigate via the loan to its credit arrangements, and from there the principal repayment terms, and we find ultimately the total outstanding principal. And this is the identical representation scope from the FIBO data model. So COD is the only technology that harvests the complete ontology semantics, including class restrictions and inverse object properties. And if you want to learn more about navigating between entities in the data model, I recommend the FIBO FIB-DM Navigator class. The configurable ontology to data model transformation code. On the left-hand side, we have ontologies like the FIBO, other industry ontologies, our proprietary ontologies. And on the right-hand side, we have FIB-DM, enterprise, and project models. And we generate data models from our industry domain and proprietary ontologies, and we can also reverse engineer our data models into RDF OWL to extend the enterprise and project ontologies. And the United States Patent and Trademark Office has issued patent 12038-939 for COD. Here a little excursus here. The FIBO in Irvine FIB-DM releases as an SAP Power Designer conceptual data model. However, Irvine has a very good import from external format functionality, and that gives us an easy migration into the Irvine modeling tool. And here we see some statistics on the imported FIBO Power Designer file. The import is complete, accurate, and fully preserves the extensive FIBO documentation in Irvine user-defined properties. And if you want to look into the import in more detail, you can do that on the FIB-UM website. And there's also a discussion on importing the FIBO Power Designer file into other data modeling tools. Yeah, let's look at the data model packages. So at the top we have a generic layer. In that there's OMG Commons, OMG Languages, Countries and Currencies, and some supplemental ontologies that are used for documentation, like SCOS, the Simple Knowledge Organization System. And then there comes in green the domain core, that is FIBO Foundation and FIBO Business Entities and Finance, Business and Commerce. And then come the domain extensions. No? For banks, of course, it's loans and mortgages. And for investment managers, that's securities, derivatives, corporate actions, and CIVs, in other words, funds. And here the upper part here, that's the FIB-DM open source version, and the green shaded packages are in the commercial version. So the path to SEIA. Also in this year, adopt the industry standard, the FIBO and its data and concept model. And then progress to train data architects in OWL, customize the FIBO to become your enterprise ontology. And then with that, you'll achieve semantic enterprise information architecture. And the benefit of this path is that we have an immediate return on investment using the FIBO content and design patterns from day one and not in 2 years from now. And it's easy to learn a new language like ontology web language and the tooling if you already know the content and design of the model. Version support and maintenance. FIB-DM follows the quarterly EDM Council FIBO production release schedule. Licensees with a maintenance contract get the FIB-DM version 4 weeks after the FIBO release. And the current FIB-DM version is as of FIBO Q4 2025 and was released in January of this year. And here we see the open source version and the commercial version side by side. So open source derived from 2018 Q4 and the commercial version from 2025 to Q4. And the model, open source model, has a little over 1,000 entities, and the commercial version adds 2,000 additional entities. The open source is copyleft, whereas the commercial version is proprietary. In other words, you keep your FIB-DM extensions, modifications, and migrations and scopes private. Yeah, and also the open source, the education materials under copyright, whereas with the commercial license, you're free to leverage from the original PowerPoints. Further reading and watching. The FIB-DM website has scalable vector graphics diagrams of the data model. It has a list report of the 3,173 entities, complete with their definitions, and extensive education materials, like this deck in MS Office online and as a PDF download. And in the education course, we are here, Semantics for Midsize banks. And you can also take a look at the semantics for large and extra large banks. They are all flavors of the same thing. And the increasing size just means that the Excel bank presentation includes information about the transformation technology. And from here, we all go on to the data modeler classes, semantics for data architects, scoping, the navigator tool, and then the website also has several articles with detailed descriptions. So you can follow the FIB-DM LinkedIn page for news and updates. And you can watch this video and the other education videos on the FIB-DM YouTube channel. Okay, thank you for watching.